This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Is the man, the myth, the legend that is Alain Poupart. He is ready to rock. He's ready to roll. All right. So, how do you look at this whole coaching thing? Dable goes off. Now we have the McDaniel and
Kellen Moore
thing now happening this week. I'm not believing anything on the Harbaugh stuff, but you tell me, what are you hearing?
I wouldn't dismiss it. For a millisecond, I wouldn't dismiss it, because the people I've spoken to who would be in a position to know, it's unanimous. Jim Harbaugh wants to go back to the NFL. That's his desire. There's word he reached out or he spoke with the Vikings. And if you're going to tell me that it's not possible that Stephen Ross is going to tell him, listen, you've already made it clear you want to go back to the NFL. So my statement about not being the one to take you away from Michigan still applies, because Jim Harbaugh is the one who took himself away from the University of Michigan, if you want to play with semantics. So I absolutely not for 1 millisecond would dismiss that possibility to me. And I'm not seeing Kellen Moore, and not just because Jerry Jones told a Dallas radio station that he was expecting Kellen Moore to be back. But I kind of get the feeling between Moore and McDaniel. McDaniel's the flavor of the month. To me, I think at this point, it would be McDaniel or Jim Harbaugh.
I think it's McDaniel now, because the report of keeping the defensive staff, that's kind of, because if you bring Harbaugh in, he's going to take over everything. He's going to want power. He's going to control the coaching, all of that. So there was no reason to keep your defensive staff, because you'll be lucky if he keeps one or two of those guys. He'll bring his own people when it's all said and done. I think they're looking for that offensive mind. I've never been a fan of the human Jenga that they've done for 20 years. But in this case, I kind of get it. You've built the defense. The coach wasn't talking to his staff from Thanksgiving on anyway, so the defensive staff actually got a chance to prove themselves on their own, basically, in a way. So they figured.
Sure about that?
Maybe.
I think that's, to me, it's like, not that I know this for a fact, but I would probably say with 90% confidence that defense is Brian Flores' defense pretty much the entire way. And so that, how good is that staff going to be, and what kind of results are we going to get if Flores is no longer in the picture and you bring back everybody else, who, mind you, and nothing against any of those guys, are not exactly guys who came to the Dolphins with very long resumes in terms of NFL experience at their position.
Right.
They're pretty much all newbies. So unless you hit the jackpot with all of them, again, I think
I'm sure it'll be tweaked. To
me, it was the flow show on defense. So the idea that you're keeping the defensive stat and boom, you're going to have the same kind of success.
But you will have some kind of continuity is the point between them, because you will probably run pretty much the same kind of defensive scheme overall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so I think that's what they want to do. There was no continuity on offense, so you're not destroying anything there. So you try to rebuild that third of the team. I think that at least that's what it kind of looks like to me from the outside. If you're going to keep since you've already run into this problem with Philbin and with Flo, that they couldn't build staffs. So if you hire another young guy, it's going to be a problem for him to build a staff. So you just give him a defensive staff. And if you're hiring an offensive mind, it should be the easiest part for him to build is an offensive staff. So that's the method behind the madness. In the end, there isn't no home run hires out there anyway. They all have got some warts.
Correct. But if I may make a point here and stick up for Joe Philbin a little bit, because you mentioned his inability to build a staff. Let's remember that the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, the Super Bowl participant Cincinnati Bengals, was coached under, and the defensive coordinator also.
10 years ago. 10 years ago, you would have to have.
You just mentioned that he had no ability to put together a staff. Obviously,
but at that time, we had no idea who they were. And by the way, it wasn't Zach. It was Sherman running it. It was his father-in-law running it. Zach wasn't doing jack crap.
But he hired him, and then he finished the 2015 as OC. I mean, I don't want to give Philbin more credit than he deserves, but let's also be fair. But I understand your overall point, and that's the big question when it comes to Jim Harbaugh. Going back to the original point, is that it's going to be a balance of just how badly Stephen Ross wants him, if he's going to go there, and how much is he willing to give up in terms of the structure he wants to get that done. Because I as you mentioned, I have a hard time seeing Jim Harbaugh saying, "Excuse me, okay, I will come on board with your parameters in place."
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. That's why I don't think, I think this is more, so far, nobody has reported it like, any real sources, it's just some guy reporting it out of Chicago that nobody really knows and is not really an insider. So there hasn't been any real mainstream insiders reporting this Harbaugh thing so far. So that's why.
Except they go that it's well established by many, many different people that Harbaugh wants to go back to the NFL.
No, I get that.
It's public. Stephen Ross himself saying, "I love Jim Harbaugh," and he pursued him in 2011. It's very, very easy to connect the dots. And that still doesn't make it even close to being accurate. Okay, all right. It's not. There's no accuracy there at all. They go, what's not accurate? The fact that Stephen Ross would like to have Jim Harbaugh.
It's a 5-year-old's game. Okay, that's not. It's not the facts. It's not like something that's out there. He's not interviewing. We don't know of any interview. Nothing's been reported. There's no connection. So there's really no substance to the story. It's just hearsay and connect the dots.
You're actually thinking that Stephen Ross and Jim Harbaugh, who are tight, have not spoken once about the Dolphin head coaching opening. Are you serious? You also think that Jim Harbaugh needs – hold on, let me finish. You honestly think Jim Harbaugh needs the same kind of official interview if he tells Stephen Ross, "I'm interested in the job," that Mike McDaniel would need, that Kellen Moore would need?
Yeah, I mean, you would have to sit down and see what the hell his idea is, don't you? You got to find out.
Again, you're assuming that they haven't talked, considering they're tight. I'm not buying. Excuse me. There doesn't need to be a story where it's going to be NFL Network reporting that Jim Harbaugh is officially interviewing with the Miami Dolphins. This is kind of a unique situation where I understand that's not out there, but to dismiss it out of hand because we haven't had one of the national guys say, our sources tell us that Jim Harbaugh is going to interview for the Dolphins.
We haven't had anybody
again,
not
it's
one credible person has said
anything. Situation. It's a completely different situation. If you you can believe what you want. To me, I think if you're dismissing the idea of Jim Harbaugh possibly becoming head coach of the Dolphins because there hasn't been one credible report of him interviewing for the Dolphins.
No, there hasn't been anything. Not interview, no connections, no nothing. There's nothing. Nothing.
Connection. What more connection do you want than the fact that Ross and Harbaugh are tight?
We have him interviewing with Minnesota. We have him interviewing with Minnesota. We don't have any connection so far with Miami. So far. Correct. So the plan that they've got in place doesn't show to be Harbaugh at all. The way they're going about this with the defensive staff in place and everything else, they're telling us they're not going in the Harbaugh direction.
Well, they're leaking us. They're leaking us that that's where they're going.
It's just just like what's going to end up happening. This is the same shit as the Watson thing. Okay, Ross never wanted Watson. It was Flo that was pushing it all and pushing even the owner to go talk to him. While people were thinking that the owner and others were interested, it was only Flo that was interested in Watson.
Not true.
Okay,
not true. Ross was completely on board.
I disagree with that, and I don't believe that at all. If they would, if that's true, they will go after Watson now. If they don't go after Watson, then the owner was never, because it has nothing to do with the flow then.
Big O, are you going to
– out of the picture.
Are you going to question the idea that Ross is easily influenced by, depending on who's telling him what at what moment?
Yes.
You're going to argue that?
Yeah, Flo was pushing people around to the point that he's the one that got them into the Watson thing. If they don't go for Watson in the offseason and he is cleared by free agency, it will prove that Ross was never interested. It was all Flo, my man.
It also
any of those that were out there were not right. It wasn't the owner. The owner was going for him, but pushed by Flo. for it, not for anything else.
Okay, 2 points. Ross was very much on board. We can agree to disagree on that. Number two, it also could be if they don't go after Watson and he's cleared in the offseason, it also could be that somebody has convinced Ross now that stick with Tua. He's gonna pan out. You'll see how good he's gonna be. That's all.
I think he already did that by firing Flo. I don't know, but
that may have been part of it. But I think somebody got in his ear, and now that's the direction he's taken.
But wait a minute, you just said that you just told me. So you think that people get in Ross's ear and make him change his mind? And I said yes, and now you're saying that they're doing that.
Wait a second. No. Well, my point to you was, would you dispute that notion that people get in his ear and he's easily influenced?
Yes.
You agree with that, right? Okay.
Yes.
Good. We're on. Then we're
yes.
on board.
Yes, he's been influenced, exactly, and he was trying to be influenced into Watson when he wasn't the Watson guy. So that's that. Again,
not what I was
gets
told.
cleared now in free agency, okay, and the Dolphins don't make a move, in my eyes, it proves that the story that the owner was interested was wrong, and he was never interested. He was being pushed by Flo because Flo was the guy that wanted it, because everybody else was on the Tua bandwagon and trying to build around Tua, fighting the one guy that wasn't building around Tua.
Okay, well, again, we'll agree to disagree. And also, I don't think if they don't pursue Watson, if he's cleared, I don't think that necessarily means I know it doesn't mean that Ross was never on board with Watson, because he was. To me, it would mean more that he's been convinced that they should move forward with Tua, which I also think if they have an opportunity to explore something for Watson, they'd be crazy not to.
All right, so where does this go? When does this finish? Do you think it's done this week finally?
I mean, Jesus. No, I absolutely got to be done this week. I'm actually even a little bit surprised that it lasted so long. Senior Bowls this week. At this point, it's going to be mostly just, I can't imagine even whoever they hire might not even go down there. It might be just the scouts. But the McDaniel and Kellen Moore interviews, I believe, are happening today or tomorrow, that neighborhood. So, yeah, I would expect.
Is that here or in Mobile?
From my understanding is it's here.
It's here? Okay.
In Miami, yeah. My expectation.
Everything doesn't start till tomorrow, actually. Right? If I'm correct.
Correct. Yeah, the practices start.
Yeah, so they don't even have to leave till tomorrow morning.
Correct. So my expectation is something gets done this week. Hopefully, I'm tired of this already.
You try taking the call, try taking the texts and the emails and the tweets every damn day for 3 hours on this whole thing, and everybody trying to decide what the hell is going on. By the way, did you find it odd that Ken Dorsey didn't stay in Buffalo? I found that really weird. Like, this is your opportunity to become the man. You can lead the team to a Super Bowl and win one. That would really catapult your ass, and you go with Dable to the Giants. I found that. Did
I miss something? Did that happen this morning?
No, but that's the word, right? That he's going with Dable to the Giants, right?
According to who? Some basement reporter. I don't think that's not settled yet. I'm going to believe it when I see it.
But if that's the case, wouldn't that be soft on his part? Wouldn't you rather if you want to be the man? Right? If that's in you, right? Don't you want to stay there and be the guy? I mean, I never thought if we would have hired him here, I was telling Dolphin fans he'd be a moron to leave Buffalo to come here. Sure, I want him here. Hell, I want him to coach for Cristobal. Really, to be honest, I'd rather him coach for Cristobal than anything else. But honestly, how do you leave the Buffalo situation if you're Ken Dorsey, right? That cannot happen. That's soft on his part, if that's the case.
It makes zero sense, and it speaks of not wanting too much responsibility, which I don't perceive Ken Dorsey has, because if he goes to Buffalo, Brian Dable, I checked out his press conference this morning. He was asked point blank, are you going to be calling plays? And he kind of danced around that, along with something else I want to get back to a little bit after.
So that means Dorsey could be coming, because then he tells him, am I going to call the plays? And he's like, yeah, you can call the plays.
But even if Dable doesn't call the plays, are we really thinking that he's not going to have his stamp all over that offense? Whereas if he stays in Buffalo, the head coach is Sean McDermott, who's the defensive guy, where it's going to be his offense, no doubt about it. He goes to the Giants, it's Dable's offense. So to me, makes zero sense. The other thing about Dable that was interesting, he was asked point blank if the Giants were his first preference all along. And spoiler alert, as expected, he kind of like, all he said that of any substance is he said the Giants are a historic organization. It's an honor. And
what else is he gonna say? I mean, in the end, you know. Okay, so we can only now play the assume game. Why did he choose the Giants over Miami? Or did Miami even get to offer the job and say, yeah, we like you, Brian, but we got to wait till next week, and he wasn't willing to wait till next week? I don't know. How do you read through all of this?
Oh, well, if that's the case, then that's completely ridiculous from the Dolphins. If that was your guy, you should. Right. We'll move up the interview. I mean, that's completely ridiculous. I actually did a story on that, a column on why Dable would choose the Giants, why he would choose the Dolphins, and the Giants in his favor went to high school, went to college in New York, so he's staying fairly close, and he's got, as he mentioned, he's got 6 kids, which are enemies, 6 kids. And the youngest one was 4 years old, who we pointed out was falling asleep during the press conference. So there's the idea of like uprooting him. I mean, he's moving a lot closer than schlepping all the way down to Miami. That's number one. Number two, if you're going to look tradition, maybe the Giants are a more like traditional organization, because the Dolphins beyond that era of the 70s, not a whole lot to write home about. The Giants go a lot further back than that. Giants have the 3rd and 5th overall pick in the 2022 NFL draft.
I didn't realize they had 2 picks that high. Wow.
All right, 5 and 7. I'm sorry, not 3 and 5. 5 and 7.
5 and 7.
Correct. And then possibly, I'm going to throw it out there, it's possible that he decided Daniel Jones is a better quarterback to work with than Tua. Again,
he does have the similar traits to the guy he just left.
Tall, athletic.
So maybe he can coach him, because you can't coach the same kind of offense with Tua. But with Daniel Jones, you can try to coach him to play the offense that you just left right now, because they are the same exact athlete. Okay. And I would think Josh has a little better arm, but still they're the same kind of athlete. Like the other guy can run. Daniel Jones
the other guy can run. Well, the two big differences is Josh, to me, has a lot better arm, because Josh has a better arm than everybody else, and he's also a lot bigger. But just for the record, so nobody gets offended here, I mentioned those 4 things as possibilities. It could be a combination of all 4. It could be one above the other. I don't want like people all getting their feelings because I mentioned the quarterback situation, and I know how that happens with Dolphin fans.
Would Harbaugh be a good hire in your eyes?
Harbaugh would be a great hire, dude.
Okay.
Dude, look at again. I go back to his record in San Francisco was completely insane. He also helped Alex Smith reach another level that he hadn't.
No. Andy Reid helped him reach another level. No.
Try again, Big O. Try again. Look at his final seasons his last 2 years in San Francisco. That's when he got really good. Sorry about that.
Coño.
I know what that means, and that doesn't mean I agree with you, Alan. But sorry, dude.
No, it means that Alan estás de carajo. That's what it means.
Well, carajo, tú también. Big O, look at his stats. He started
his last year in San Francisco, sir. He had 1,700 yards, 13 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. The year before that, 3,100 yards, 17 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. The year before that, 2,300 yards, 14 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. The year before that, 18 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and 23. With Andy Reid, sir, he had 3,300 yards, 23-7, 3,200 yards, 18-6, 3,400 yards, 20-7, 3,500 yards, 15-8, and 4,000 yards, 26-5. No comparison.
What did I tell you?
Checkmate. It's over.
Sorry, wrong. I said he took him to
Kansas City.
He took them to the next. He took them to the next level. No. And then Andy Reid took him to another level with his offense. Sorry.
No, his BBs dropped in Kansas City, and he actually played football with some cojones. Something that Alex Smith never played with in San Francisco. You're dead wrong. And Schneider and McLaughlin carried that team with their selections in the draft and in free agency. Those teams were so loaded, and he was losing them just like John Gruden lost his team in Tampa. He got a great situation early. He got his championship, and then it went downhill. Same thing with Harbaugh. It peaked because they were so loaded, and then it started to decline. And in Michigan, he has been nothing overall. But back to your point, Alex Smith played his best football under Andy Reid, and there's no question there.
Is
I just
that
read all.
okay? Can you, dude? If you're gonna, that's not, I never said that. Do not misquote me, please. I didn't say Alex Smith played his best football under Harbaugh. I said Harbaugh helped him take a major step up from before he got there. You're crazy. I see you're shaking your head at me. You are crazy. And if you think Alex Smith never did anything in Frisco, there was
he
a
took
playoff game.
The real steps was Kansas City, my man. Not in.
He had started becoming a good quarterback.
His playoff successes were with Kaepernick, buddy, not Alex Smith.
I'm aware of that. He had one game that was completely outrageous in the playoffs. Either it was a shootout, either won or lost by a point or whatever, I don't remember, but it was a completely insane game. And yes, he had limitations, which is why they replaced him with Kaepernick. Newsflash, the Chiefs also at one point decided that even though he had become a really good quarterback under Andy Reid, it wasn't enough, which is why they drafted Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, you just said he became a really good quarterback under Andy Reid. I just want to make sure you heard yourself. Okay, I just want to make sure you didn't call him a really good quarterback in San Francisco, but you're calling him a really good quarterback in Kansas City.
He became a good quarterback in San Francisco, and he took another step when he went to Kansas City. If you're going to completely dismiss
tracking like Carnell Lake,
Big O, nice reference, Steelers safety. If you're going to, I know you for some reason, you have a major issue with Jim Harbaugh. If you can't acknowledge that he did good work with Alex Smith, I don't know what to tell you, dude.
Andy Reid did good work with Alex. Andy Reid showed Alex Smith how to actually throw a pair of balls.
Leave out Andy Reid out of the conversation.
In San Francisco, those things were stuck up, and then in Kansas City, they actually dropped. He had some barbecue. And he dealt with the cold weather, and Andy Reid showed him, hey kid, here, let's show you how to play with some cojones, and they actually showed him how to play with some cojones. He had no cojones.
And then let me correct me if I'm wrong. Jim Harbaugh's record in Frisco, I believe, was something along the lines of what?
It was good. It was great.
44-19-1 or something like that. And it was entirely because of the talent, right? Jim Harbaugh wasn't a good coach.
It's the John Gruden effect. You think I think John Gruden is some great coach because he actually won a Super Bowl? No, I don't.
That wasn't his team. That was
right. And he added a couple pieces, and it went well. Well, he inherited one hell of a team, but his team got worse as time went on, and then it went awry in San Francisco.
He had one 8-8 year, or he had one bad year, and that was it. I mean, dude, I don't. I'm struggling to understand why it is you're so resistant to the guy. I mean, I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Well, no, that's fine. Hey, listen, that's fine, bro. I mean, for many years, I've had people that still believe that Ryan Tannehill was actually a good quarterback. So what do you want me to do?
You and I agree on that one. So
I mean, it's just I'm kind of used to that. At times I've got to go against the grain a little bit, go against the waves. And that's what I'm doing
on Tannehill, and you're wrong on this one. So we're cool there.
I was right on Tannehill. You know that I was right on Tannehill. I'm right on this one too. I'm looking for his.
You're not right on this one. Sorry.
I'm looking for his coaching record.
Yeah,
here.
I was gonna have to put my glasses on. Look for it too. You can find it quicker.
His glasses.
Dude,
why haven't you gotten laser? What the hell is wrong with you? Are you a wussy?
Too bad.
Are you a wussy? You afraid to get? You afraid to get a little laser? Huh?
I was told I was not a candidate.
You're afraid to go blind for a couple of minutes? You go blind for a couple of minutes.
They go. Before you continue insulting me, I looked into it. I was told I was not a candidate.
What they saddle you with? What's wrong with your eyes?
They're bad. 44-19-1, 13-3, 11-4-1, 12-4, 8-8. What the hell more do you want?
I know. Jesus. He was loaded.
My God, man.
Loaded team.
Yeah, yeah. He had nothing to do with that.
No, he didn't. Schneider McLaughlin had everything.
Dude, you're great. You're great. Sorry.
You'll see. I hope he gets the NFL chance because he's not his brother. His brother's a badass. I would give up 3 first-rounders to coach his brother. Huh?
No argument there. John Harbaugh's a great coach.
That's an NFL coach. Jim Harbaugh, for me, is built for kids. That's just me. That's what I think. But
44-19-1.
What are you working on there? It's the Pat Kennedy, Jack McKeon thing.
I might do a column this afternoon. I might do a column this afternoon on why some radio hosts are crazy enough to think Jim Harbaugh is not a good coach. I think that'd be a good column.
It'd be a terrible pro coach. You'll see. It'll be a disaster. All right, what are you working on an SI?
No, I'm telling you, I'm going to do a column on why Jim Harbaugh would be a good hire.
Oh, you are? Okay.
No, I'm actually I'm half joking, although there might be some merit to it because if there are other people who actually are in your camp. No, it's about the coaching search. Might do something Senior Bowl related since people are descending upon Mobile, Alabama this day as we speak.
Yes, little Winsel's. Get me a little cup of gumbo. I'm going to miss that. We'll get it for Sean next year. All right, follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL and catch him twice a week here for the Sports Grill Miami Dolphins Insider Report. Thank you, Alan. Appreciate you.
You got it. Till we meet again.
The great Alain Poupart, baby.